No, 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 no. Look, I like Brendan Carr. He's a good guy. He's the chairman of the FCC. I work closely with him. But what he said is dangerous as hell. So the Federal Communication Commission is in charge of granting broadcast licenses. So ABC, NBC, CBS, they have licenses from the FCC. It is true that under statute, they're required to be in the public interest.
Yep.
What he is saying is Jimmy Kimmel was lying. That's true. He was lying. And his lying to the American people is not in the public interest. And so he threatens explicitly, we're going to cancel ABC's license. We're going to take him off the air so ABC cannot broadcast anymore. And I got to say, he threatens it. He says, we can do this the easy way or we can do this the hard way.
Yeah.
And I got to say, that's right out of Goodfellas. That's right out of a mafioso coming into a bar going, nice bar you have here. It'd be a shame if something happened to it. And I got to say, look, I understand. Jimmy Kimmel has mocked me so many times I cannot count. The corporate media, they are dishonest. They are liars. I hate what Jimmy Kimmel said. I am thrilled that he was fired. But let me tell you, if the government gets in the business of saying, we're going to ban you from the airwaves if you don't say what we like, that will end up bad for conservatives. It reminds me of, you and I are both fans of The Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
J.R.R. Tolkien. It reminds me of like the Ring of Power. And it is so attractive. It's sort of like conservatives are saying, wait, if we have government, we have power. Yeah. We can ban the media. Let me tell you what will happen. Going down this road, there will come a time when a Democrat wins again. They will use this power and they will use it ruthlessly. Yeah. And that is dangerous. And by the way, in the Biden administration, they tried to go after and revoke Fox's license because they didn't like, and they say everything they say on Fox is hate speech. I'm sure they say everything you and I say is hate speech, is misinformation. Sure. They've defined anything counter to the leftist narrative as misinformation. Now, I think it is unbelievably dangerous for government to put itself in the position of saying, we're going to decide what speech we like and what we don't, and we're going to threaten to take you off air if we don't like what you're saying. And it might feel good right now to threaten Jimmy Kimmel.
Yeah.
But when it is used to silence every conservative in America, we will regret it. And so, again, I like Brendan Carr, but we should not be in this business. We should denounce it. It's fine to say what Jimmy Kimmel said was deplorable, it was disgraceful, and he should be off air, but we shouldn't be threatening government power to force him off air. That's a real mistake.
We are now at the point where this administration has outflanked Ted Cruz. Ted Cruz on the right. The reality is that this administration's embrace of government-sanctioned censorship is not only nakedly unconstitutional, but it makes a mockery of the entire conservative movement. Let's not forget that despite the White House assumption that everyone was born yesterday, this is the kind of stuff that was said on a daily basis on the right.
If we don't have free speech, then we just don't have a free country. It's as simple as that.
It's like legalized comedy. Yeah, freedom of speech. Having fun again. It seems like we should have a good time, you know.
You don't have free speech unless people can say things you don't like, and you can attempt to beat that speech.
Debate is the fertilizer, it's the water, it's the sunlight for our democracy.
The best measure of the health of our American democracy, our constitutional republic, is the percentage of people who feel free to say what they actually think in public.
In Snyder versus Phelps, the court made it clear that public speech can never be punished simply for being offensive.
And under Donald Trump's leadership, we may disagree with your views, but we will fight to defend your right to offer it in the public square, agree or disagree.
We must protect free speech, and free speech only matters, it's only relevant when it's someone you don't like saying something you don't like, because obviously speech that you like is, that's easy.
Imagine staking your reputation on that, only for Donald Trump to quite literally send his FCC chair like a mob boss over to ABC to say this in the words of Ted Cruz.
And I got to say, he threatens it. He says, we can do this the easy way, or we can do this the hard way.
Yeah.
And I got to say, that's right out of Goodfellas. That's right out of a mafioso coming into a bar going, nice bar you have here. It'd be a shame if something happened to it.
I actually appreciate what Ted Cruz is saying here, but I also think that the only thing more criminal than what Trump and Brendan Carr are doing is the accent that Ted Cruz just debuted. I don't believe in censorship, except for whatever it was that Ted Cruz just did to that New York accent. It is worse than what Chicago did to our pizza and what LA did to our bagels. But Ted Cruz's cringe notwithstanding, it is worth noting that Cruz isn't alone here. He's joined by Tucker Carlson and Fox's Kennedy, who said this.
You hope that. You hope that Charlie Kirk's death won't be used by a group we now call bad actors to create a society that was the opposite of the one he worked to build. You hope that. You hope that a year from now, the turmoil we're seeing in the aftermath of his murder won't be leveraged to bring hate speech laws to this country. And trust me, if it is, if that does happen, there is never a more justified moment for civil disobedience than that, ever. And there never will be. Because if they can tell you what to say, they're telling you what to think. There is nothing they can't do to you because they don't consider you human. They don't believe you have a soul. A human being with a soul, a free man, has a right to say what he believes, not to hurt other people, but to express his views.
I do have an issue with some of the statements made by Brendan Carr, because if there were an FCC commissioner on the other side of the political spectrum, from someone maybe on this network, and they didn't like their speech, would they put pressure on, some of some of the advertisers? Yep. And, if someone from Fox moved on to Fox Broadcast, to some of the owned and operated stations there, that's the part of this that I do not like.
Glenn Greenwald tweeted, yes, Kimmel has had his show on ABC for 22 years, and they suddenly decided to cancel it purely for business reasons. It's just a gigantic, incredible coincidence that it all happened a day after the FCC chair threatened everyone with state punishment if they aired his show. Even the Supreme Court ruled 9-0 that, quote, government officials cannot attempt to coerce private parties in order to punish or suppress views that the government disfavors. That's a ruling where everyone from Clarence Thomas and Samuel Alito agreed with Sonia Sotomayor and Ketanji Brown Jackson, meaning Donald Trump is now outflanking Ted Cruz, Tucker Carlson, Samuel Alito, Clarence Thomas, and Fox News to the right, in case you were wondering whether we're in extremist territory here. But I should note that while Trump and Carr are anti-free speech despots, that this move wouldn't be possible without buy-in from ABC. If they cared about free speech, if they cared about the First Amendment, if they cared about democracy like they claim to do, then they could fight this and win, hands down, no questions asked. Trump could bring this to SCOTUS and get embarrassed in a 9-0 ruling against him. But ABC didn't want to fight. They wanted to bend the knee, and they deserve the blame too. Because their capitulation doesn't only hurt Jimmy Kimmel and all of us in this moment, it emboldens Trump to know that he can go after the next person, the next outlet, the next law firm, the next university, because he was shown just now how easy it was. The ABCs of the world are not just weakening free speech in this isolated incident, they are weakening it for everyone, everywhere. They are so focused on consolidating more money for themselves because God forbid they don't get this merger that they can't even fucking see the harm that they're doing to all of us. How they're emboldening this despot. Shame on them, and I hope America responds in the only way that apparently ABC understands, with their wallets. Since ABC only sees green, perhaps consider taking it away from them. I canceled my Hulu subscription, and it was the easiest decision I ever made. To that end, I hope you'll consider supporting independent media. I hope you'll consider subscribing to this channel. I am not owned by anyone. I'm not leveraged by the federal government. I do not need anything from this administration, and I never will. My allegiance is to the truth, not some shareholders or some multinational conglomerate. So if you haven't yet subscribed to this channel, please consider subscribing. It is and always will be completely free. Before you go, if you enjoyed this content and you want to see more and support independent media, please subscribe to this channel. The subscribe button will be right here on the screen. But second, the reality is that we are now in a political environment where this administration can lean on any of the social media platforms to suppress certain voices if they don't like critical coverage. That means my longevity here is in the hands of a few tech billionaires who are already making it clear that they are willing to cater to this administration. To that end, Signing up for my newsletter is a way for me to reach you directly if that ever becomes necessary. I'll put the link right here on the screen as well, so please sign up. It's free, but there's also an option to do a paid subscription if you'd like to support me and my team. I really appreciate it. Thanks so much for watching.